We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. We got a lot of podcasts going on, and this one is a TikTok Live. It seemed like it would be the thing to do given all the crazy shit that's going on. It's absolutely absurd what's happening. We got planes falling from the sky. We have the one in Washington, D.C., and then one in Philly. We've got some of the crazy things that Elon Musk is doing, trying to break into the Treasury Department's payroll system or paying system. It's getting a little crazy out here. It really is. And I guess we shouldn't be so surprised. Everywhere Donald Trump goes, it turns into a shit show. Things go badly. Donald Trump is a failure. Donald Trump doesn't accomplish anything. People want to call, it's funny, when Donald Trump was in business, they called him a developer or a builder. Donald Trump is quite the opposite. Donald Trump is a destroyer. Everything he's ever done, he's destroyed it. He destroyed his family. He destroyed his businesses. He destroyed a political party. And now he's attempting to destroy this country. I don't know what's in it for him. And honestly, I don't think it's him so much. Donald Trump is a useful idiot. He's got a lot of people around him, like the folks with the Project 2025 stuff, kind of pulling his strings. He's easily manipulated because he's such a emotionally weak person, and he just does their bidding. As long as they're patting him on the back, and as long as they are telling him he's a great guy, that he's a genius, he's just going to do whatever they tell him. That's the thing about Donald Trump. He's really an easy mark if you know well enough about that kind of personality. Bringing in Eric. Eric is the analytical Iowan. He is from Iowa. And I didn't know that I was going to do a live today, Eric, but I thought, well, what the hell? There's a lot of goofy ass shit going on. And what I'm getting is probably what you're getting. A lot of people terrified. We got planes falling from the sky. Now one in Philadelphia. We got Elon Musk trying to break into the Treasury's payment system. It does seem to be going a little batshit crazy out there. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah, and it's only going to get worse. But it's going to come to a breaking point, and I think that breaking point is going to come fast. Republicans are going to have to make a decision here soon. I think these tariffs get hit. We already saw stock market go down. All of its gains for the day were gone. I think it ended the day down for the total day because of the threat of tariffs. He's wrecking the economy. You got Musk having his hands in the Office of Personnel Management. They're locked out of their computer systems, and that has everybody's personal information and all the information about service times and all of it, how long they've been with the government, their pay rates. He's got him and his cronies have access to all of that. And now he wants the Treasury. If Republicans aren't worried about this, they're crazier than we thought.
Well, that's a good point. There's been the whole term since Donald Trump was in the election and then won the election. We keep saying, okay, now there's going to be a point where the Republicans have to push back. They pretty much wrung him out for everything they can get in terms of him winning the election. As I've said before, he's kind of a liability now. He's nothing but going to do bad things that are going to affect the Republicans. And we expect the Republicans to do something, to push back, to impeach him, to do whatever the fuck they're going to do. But it's hard to watch because they'll take it to the last minute, I'm sure, as they tend to do. And a lot of them are so complicit with this clown, they go along with anything. It's like they'll jump off the cliff with him.
Well, I think the problem is the ones that are complicit are the loudest. They're the ones we're hearing. We're not hearing the ones behind the scenes saying, oh, we don't hardly hear from Mitch McConnell anymore.
No.
We don't hear about John Thune, not really. We only hear from the loud voices. And it's going to be, they're going to have to do something because he is going to destroy not only, this country, he's also going to destroy the Republican Party if they don't stop him. But again, they're having the same problem that Donald Trump does. They created this monster. Then they're going to come out, try to fix it by getting rid of him and say, see, we solved the problem. We can't let them take credit for solving the problem that they created.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what Donald Trump typically does. He goes, creates a problem, and then says, "Oh, I have a resolution to it, and so I'm the hero." And it's a much different situation than it was the first term. People didn't know what to expect. They didn't know what Donald Trump was about. They might have been a little scared of him. Now people are just kind of laughing at him. I'm bringing somebody in here, Eric. Hannah, how you doing, Hannah?
I'm great. How are you? Thanks for
I'm
bringing
doing
me up.
well. No
You make
problem. What's on your mind?
well, you just make so many great points about Trump. I feel like the economy is taking two big hits. One from deporting immigrants, and it's
Yep.
unfortunate, but it's the truth. The other from tariffs. And so it's just like every day I wake up to more disappointing news from Donald Trump. Just
Right.
today, I see that he is pausing um, recognition of Black History Month,
Hmm.
Women's History Month, um, Pride Month, all of those celebratory moments. Like, what I don't understand is how DEI is considered a bad thing. How is inclusivity considered to be negative?
Well, see, the thing about it is some people think this is Donald Trump's ideology, that he's thinking this and he wants to stop this and he wants to do that. This has nothing to do with what Donald Trump knows because he doesn't know anything. He's not a very bright man.
Mm-mm.
Like I've said before, he's got people around him. This is all Project 2025 stuff, the people that run that. And these fuckers are just goofy. They don't like the fact that women aren't second class citizens anymore or that people of color might be treated equally. For whatever reason, they want to go back in time, the 1880s or the 1890s, even the 1950s. Um, this is just a grab for as much power as they can get. They know by doing what they're doing, they're pushing the envelope, and eventually somebody's going to slam it shut. But they're grabbing as much stuff as they can. And how DEI has any negativity in it? I mean, he said DEI was responsible for the plane crash. Well, here's the deal: the DEI, the system for staffing FAA has been in existence since 2013. So it had been this way the whole time that he was in office. There hasn't been a crash in 16 years, so DEI didn't have any bearing on that. The only thing that's weird is that Donald Trump is in office and a fucking plane crashes. I'm not saying it's his fault, but to suggest DEI is at fault, that's stupid. That's childish, and I can't
It's
believe that
childish.
some of his people. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Every single time we have a great tragedy, you expect a leader to come out and offer condolences or some sort of
Be a
sympathy or
human.
empathy. Be a human. Every single time we look at New Orleans, we look at the shooting in New York, we now look at the plane crash, rather than trying to garner some form of unity, he takes the opportunity to blame and push more division.
Right.
It's so disgusting. It's so disgusting to see the people he's putting in place, the loyalists who will support his agenda. Um, JFK Jr., what a joke.
No,
What a
they're all
joke.
jokes. They're all jokes. I mean,
And then he
it's
wants to
it's like
fire
we're being pranked.
all of the lead of the head military people so that he can control the military. He doesn't want
Right.
anybody who has a brain to give him any advice. It's like he is on a strategic mission to sink our country.
And people have been saying that for years. That's his intention. And again, I don't know that it's his intention. He's not smart enough to come up with that. But there's people around him that control him, that pull the strings, that for whatever reason is what they want to do. They don't like the way the country is now because we're too woke. They want to go back to ancient times when the old white man was in control. And it's troubling to me. It seems weird because I'm an old white man that I'd want that, but I've got kids and I've got grandkids. I got a granddaughter. We old white men did what we did, and I think we've done enough. So let younger people, let people of diverse groups take care of it, because somebody's got to straighten this shit out. And clearly, we old fucks have not proved to be able to do that.
I also don't understand. Like, I could get, like, here's my thing. I could maybe wrap my head around somebody saying, Donald Trump promised this, he promised that, and that's why I voted for him. What I
Right.
can't understand is why people are still satisfied with his leadership today. He has not, like, yeah, he is doing the mass deportation. That again is suiting him. So, the price of eggs, for whatever reason, Father, help me understand. The price of eggs is a huge deal. When asked,
Yeah.
hey, what's going on with the price of eggs? He said, oh, well, that's not a priority now.
Yeah.
But that's what
Of
you
course.
said. Day one, inflation rates are going to be lower. It's not a priority anymore. It's like he is okay with openly letting his maggot supporters know that they've been duped, and they will support him and be okay with whatever.
Yeah, I think people who are MAGA supporters, and I mean this seriously. I'm not just trying to be mean or anything like that. I think honestly, people who support MAGA to this point, after all we've seen and heard, are mentally challenged one way or another, whether it be in a cult or they're just too fucking stupid. Eric, what do you think?
Well, part of why they still support him is one of my biggest complaints with Joe Biden. Joe Biden never crowed about his accomplishments. He let
Right.
his record stand for himself. They think because Donald Trump is signing all these executive orders, they're seeing him, he's getting covered by the media every time he signs something. He tweets stuff out, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. He sends them direct messages through Truth Social. They think that that's doing something. They don't realize that what he's doing, they're not paying attention to the what necessarily or how bad it's going to be. They think he's doing something, and they think he knows more than us because he is president, because he's been president, that's given him some kind of secret knowledge, that he understands tariffs now better than anybody because he was president. That, oh, it's going to work the way he says because he was president. He must know what they are. It's ridiculous. Whereas Joe Biden would just sign something and let the law stand on its own. You hear, oh, he signed it, and it would be a 30-second headline. By the end of the day, we're on to something else.
Yeah, absolutely. Hannah, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it immensely. When I do this one, I'm going to try to get a lot of people on here because a lot of people don't get on and they feel slighted by it. So I'm going to kind of go through as many people as I can. Thank you for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, thank you. We also brought up Rebecca, who we all know. She's here frequently with TJ, and TJ's blocking, and so is Rebecca blocking Trump-lafux. I'm blocking a few here and there too. Rebecca, we had the plane crash in Washington, D.C. You're in Pennsylvania, up by, not near Philly, but you just had a plane crash in Philadelphia. What are you hearing about that?
Yeah, I was just reading about it. From what I hear, it was like a medical plane. It was, I think, 4 crew, a child, and what we assume is a parent or a supervising adult. I saw some of the footage. There was a lot of fire, and like there was some sort of explosion when it went down, and a lot of fire.
Right.
But the news stories are very brief. They're not really saying a lot yet because they don't know a lot. But it's still. It's gruesome, even though it was a much smaller plane than the last one. It's devastating, and the
But
fact
what's
that like the last one in Washington was the first time in 16 years, and now we have another one 2 days later. It's just speaks volumes to what's going on right now.
It really does. I brought in TJ, so TJ's here, and I've got somebody else coming in here. Like I say, I'm going to try to get a lot of people on on this show because I think a lot of people have a lot of things to say. A lot of people are concerned, and this one is forgive me if I mispronounce it. Caradu 100. Are you there?
Yeah.
What can I do for you? What's on your mind?
Oh man. I got nothing to say. I mean, I wasn't even trying to talk. But I
Oh,
mean,
okay. That's
you
fine.
guys are doing a great job, and I really love it.
Well, thank you very much. And you're not forced to say anything. I'm just glad you're out there listening and
Yeah,
trying to figure this whole thing out.
yeah. It is a mess. It is
It,
a mess.
it absolutely is. Thank you for joining us and stick with us. We'll be here for a little while.
Okay, yeah,
Thank you.
I'm just a listener.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right, we got TJ in too. TJ rarely has anything to say or any opinions on anything, but welcome, TJ.
Hey Mike, how you doing?
Good. I'm seeing some Trumplafucks out there.
Yeah, we've been booting them. They're
Uh,
they're full of themselves as usual.
Well, here's the thing. They should be full of themselves. They were all about lower egg prices, lower energy prices. Now Donald Trump has said he's going to do the tariffs. And here's what we know. Egg prices are going up. Energy prices are going up. We get oil from Mexico. We get oil from Canada, a lot of it. With a 25% tariff, it's going to cost us a lot more money. And I just want to say, everything that happens henceforth, whether it be prices, whether it be plane crashes, it's all Donald Trump's fault. He's the president. He said he could straighten this shit out, so it's all his fault. And if you support Donald Trump,
It's all
it's your fault
DEI
too.
and Biden, Mike. It's all DEI and Biden. Oh, God.
No, I'm sorry. He's president. It's all on him.
I've said that. I've said this before. Sorry, TJ. I don't mean to step on you, but I said this before. Like, I'm from an hour south of Erie, where it's super rural America, and I have several friends from high school or whatever on my Facebook page, and I've thought about blocking the ones that I know are Trumplafucks, but I don't because I'm interested to see what they say, and I don't interact with them at all. But it's interesting to see what they say. Like, it's just ridiculous that they're defending like everything, and they're like, I saw a post today from a guy who's like, oh, just wait, he's declassifying all the liberalism and you'll see what they're really about and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, do you see what the fuck is happening in our country in the last 2 weeks? Like, I don't get it. I don't. And it's so hard for me not to comment, but I don't want that fight because I'm still kind of close to, I don't like, those are the kind of people that will like find out my address and show up at my home. So I don't do anything. My mom still lives there. So I don't say anything, and I just watch, but it's infuriating and just ridiculous how, like, I'm wondering, like, I feel like I'm a fairly confident and educated individual. I have degrees, but like, this is where I grew up. Like, what my public education system, I went to school with these people. Am I that like I had the same education as these people? What the fuck?
Yeah.
It's not worth fighting with them. They don't live in reality. You feed them facts and they come back with it. It's not even worth fighting with them.
I know, but it's
I
different.
gave up on fighting with them.
I understand, but it's different because like these are people I like spent 20 years of my life with, like, and now like, so I know, like, I knew, I mean, this is of course like 30 years ago now, but still, like, it just amazes me that we both grew up in the same like basic. It's infuriating and actually kind of disheartening to me that so many of these people like have the same basic education that I started with and ended up this way with these opinions.
Well, yeah.
Now, education is one thing. Stupidity is another thing. I have a question for you guys. I've been hearing this a lot, and given that I live in Minnesota, it's something to consider. The tariffs on Canada, there's talk that they're going to shut off the electricity and natural gas that come to some of the northern states, one which would be Minnesota. Have you heard that threat at all? I haven't heard that threat at all. I don't know that they would do that, but they will do some retaliatory type things, and they should.
Well,
Well,
go ahead,
go
Eric.
ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, I heard him initially when he was on the not the campaign trail, when he was president-elect. What the one premier for Canada said they were going to shut the power off and stop sending oil. I haven't heard anything since he became president confirming that it's going to happen. But if they do, and a section of this country goes dark, and it's proven to be a direct response to these tariffs, Republicans, as I said earlier, they're going to have a decision to make here. They may have to, step in here and just say, okay, we're passing something. Will Democrats help us out? We got to pass this around his veto, and we got to take these tariffs off.
Yeah, absolutely. And Congress does ultimately have the power to do that. But at some point, the Republicans have to get off their asses and actually do something. And I've been surprised that to date they haven't done it. I would have thought they would have done it long before.
Everything I've heard about the energy, them like cutting us off from any energy, has basically been hearsay. People that aren't in power saying that they should do that in Canada. The last actual known, I think, was in December 13th or something like that, where it was an official that said that, I don't know if he was serious saying that they should do that. But it's still, I wouldn't blame him.
No. I mean, it's a lot of saber rattling. I'm going to bring in Arnav, I think is how I pronounce it. Are you there?
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing? What's on your mind today?
First of all, I'm going to be very respectful, and I'm going to probably mute myself here. I'm a Trump supporter, but I'm going to listen and try to be rational too. And I do watch you on TikTok. I do like to hear other, aspects or other sides of, the aisle, if you may. So I will be respectful and
I appreciate that.
Listening. And like I said, I watch you. I don't agree with some of the things you say, but I'm sure we would be able to sit down and have a beer and maybe be rational. So I'm just gonna listen.
Wait a minute. You're a Trump supporter, and you don't agree with some of the things I say. How is it that you agree with anything I say, given how I feel about Donald Trump?
Well, I kind of believe your spirit of you're compassionate about your, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but your liberal views. And I'm sure you're conservative, maybe another. Maybe you're conservative with your money, and there's the definition of conservatism. But I see that you're passionate about your beliefs, and I think we're all raised different from kids. But I will be respectful on your live here.
You don't have to keep saying that. You don't have to keep saying that. Because I can turn you off if you aren't respectful. So don't worry about that. Just be you. Here's the thing. I don't classify myself as liberal. Certainly don't classify myself as conservative. I don't join fucking clubs. I don't need a bunch of people to tell me how I should think. I think basically on decency and humanity. And I'm curious, since you support Donald Trump, these tariffs are going to take effect tomorrow. You all solidly behind that? You ready for that? You believe that those tariffs are going to do us some good?
I think maybe a sophomoric response to me. I would hope they would help our country. How? I think
how do they help us?
Well, trade deficits. I'm kind of at a loss of words. Like I said, you're a good.
Here's the problem.
You're a good orator. I think.
Here's the problem. Can I tell you something?
Yes, sir.
Can I tell you something, Arnav? How old a guy are you?
I'm 57.
You're 57, so you're not a young guy. You're a little younger than I am. Here's the thing. I think you like Donald Trump. I think you like his energy or his vibe for whatever reason. And I think you take whatever he says at face value. But here's the problem. He's proven to be a pathological liar. You have to know that because you've seen the lies. You like the tariffs, and the only reason you like the tariffs is because Donald Trump said they're good. Donald Trump's press secretary said something today, and I want a reaction to this. Somebody said, are these tariffs going to raise prices? Are they worried about that? And the press secretary said this. She said, well, if you want to know about what tariffs do, all you have to do is look to the first term that Donald Trump served. Now, apparently people have forgotten because in the first term, Donald Trump put a tariff on China. Do you remember what happened? We had soybeans that the Chinese were no longer buying rotting in the fields. Farmers lost billions and billions of dollars. The only reason they survived was because Donald Trump bailed them out with $58 billion. Does that sound like a good economic move?
Yeah. Again, I'm going to be respectful. I am a farmer.
Yeah.
So
You
obviously I understand, and I've sold $15 beans, and, I've sold $5 corn. So, I get it. Again, I think you brought up you brought up the fact that, I might have been raised different, and
I'm sure you
I
were.
like the no. And again, I'm not trying to be sophomore here. I like the no bullshit. The guy tells it. Whether you might now, there's things I don't like about him. Sometimes I wish, like especially in the first term, not the TikTok, but the Twitter stuff. Maybe be a little bit more reserved. But
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. He is all bullshit. Everything he says is bullshit, like DEI caused the plane crash. That's absolutely ridiculous, or sophomoric, as you say. It's all bullshit. The only thing he does that you like is he talks loud and he talks strong and he acts sure of himself. And that may be why you watch me. Whether you believe anything I say it strongly and I say it directly. You gotta discern truth from performance. The performance I do is just because that's how I am. I try to bring truth. To suggest Donald Trump is not bullshit, that's like trying to say Beyonce isn't talented. It's fucking ridiculous. He's full of bullshit. He sits in the office and he says things and he told you, Arnav, that I'm going to put tariffs on. The egg prices are too high. Energy's going to be cut in half. And then he sits in the office today, he says this. He says, well, we might have some disruptions and prices might go higher. Prices will probably go higher. He told you a few months ago that all the prices were going to come down, and that's why you voted for him. And now he tells you today that they're going to go up. And then you have the audacity to suggest he's no bullshit. He's nothing but bullshit, Arnav.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Arnav, can you tell me how tariffs work? Did you hear me? Arnav? Hello?
Arnav, I'm going to put it to you this way. I appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate you being a decent human being, and I'm not going to rip you like I would other Trumplafucks because you are being decent. I appreciate that. I'm going to let you go here because I think you're feeling a little attacked, and I don't want to attack you, but I feel very strongly about the deficiencies in Donald Trump and what he's doing to this country. I understand why you like Donald Trump. I just don't agree that it's a good choice. So I'm going to let Arnav go and talk about this, you guys. I was when he said he was a Trump supporter. I go, oh, here I go. I'm going to go off the edge. But see what happens when you ask them simple questions. They can't answer them.
Right. And that's why I asked the question, because I knew I wasn't going to get an answer that was logical. And I will credit him in the way that he was being respectful. He wasn't coming in here going, Trump 2024, the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I will credit him in that way. At least he was being polite, which is appreciated, especially with what we deal with around here. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
but it's a repetitive thing with these people. You know, Donald Trump tells them something, they believe it. They never research or read anything, and then they regurgitate what they hear from Jesse Waters and Fox News or Donald Trump, and they're so sucked into that cult that even though it doesn't make any sense, the guy said he was a farmer. If that's true, he would know that farmers suffered under
Yeah.
that first Trump go around. So it makes zero sense whatsoever.
But see,
Eric, I got to get your response to this, Eric. He said, "I watch you." He said, "I watch you, and there are some things I don't agree with." A Trumplefuck watches me, and there's only some things you don't agree with. Am I slipping, or what the fuck is going on?
yeah, I don't know. Should disagree with you on everything, but maybe you're getting.
I would
through.
think so.
Maybe he's not a full Trumpafuck. If you said maybe he only likes him because he's loud.
Right, that's exactly right.
But like I said, I think a little bit ago, they give him a lot of credibility because he's in the office. That clearly he must know something because he's there.
Yeah.
That clearly, us doing what we do. Oh well, we don't know. We don't deal with international trade, so we don't know tariffs, or we don't do this, or we don't do that. Oh, they can dismiss us. Oh, but he's the president. He must know. He's got advisors telling him how this works. They don't see what we see because Fox News doesn't show that side of it. Neither does OAN, Newsmax, any of that. It doesn't show them what's all going on. And as far as the farmers and the tariffs, the last time, well, he sold them that the tariffs were good for the economy and they were good for the country and this yada, 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 yada. And then when it had a negative effect on the farmers, he goes, well, we got to do something. We're going to save you. And they didn't want to connect the dots that they needed the tariffs, or they needed the bailout because of the tariffs. They didn't connect those two dots.
Yeah. Rebecca was off for a little bit, and she missed the
I had
Trump
to switch
bumper.
phones because I was getting a lot of freezing on my other phone. But
No problem.
So, like I was saying, when I was from
go
Rural
ahead.
America, I saw another post today from somebody that I went to school with. It was saying these liberals, they just don't know because they only watch MSN and CNN. And I'm just thinking to myself, oh my God, like we all have the same rhetoric in different ways. Like they say the same things we do, except it's like the exact opposite. It's so ridiculous.
Well, I'm bringing somebody in here. She's been on before, and she also happens to be Canadian, so I thought this is a good idea. Gypsy Sue, are you there?
I am here. Good evening, everyone. Happy Friday.
Good evening. Happy Friday to
Hey,
you. It's a
Gypsy, nice to
fucking
see you.
goofy Friday.
Hey, thank you. So it looks like we're about 2.5 hours away from tariff time.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. What do you know up there? Are you going to shut off my electricity? I'm in Minnesota.
Not yours, Mike. Absolutely not. We're going to keep
Okay.
yours on.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're
Right
welcome.
now specifically.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of yours. We're going to keep all for all of you guys. No, it's going to be really interesting to see what's going to transpire. I don't know if Donald Trump thinks that homes are made out of palm trees, but I think you guys use our lumber. We send a lot
Absolutely.
of cars and car
Oil.
parts down there, crude oil, right? So we have not been told specifics as to what's happening after midnight, but both our prime minister and who the sane people hope is going to be our next prime minister, because I'm sure you guys have heard that Justin Trudeau has resigned.
Right.
So Mark Carney, who now we think for sure is going to beat our little mini Trump, he's also said, make no mistake about it. Canada's not taking this lying down. You tariff us, we're tariffing you. And it's going to hurt.
Yeah. Well, and that's the natural progression. Anytime we put a tariff on somebody, they're going to do it back. And it's
Right.
what they call a trade war. And trade wars never benefit anybody, at least any of us. And
Right.
knowing how Donald Trump is, if he gets enough pushback on this, and I bet he's getting some calls from Republicans, does he bail on it and say, he can do one of two things. Well, I talked to Justin Trudeau. He says he's going to do everything I said, so we're not going to do the tariff. Or he's going to say, we decided to wait a month. I sense he might pull something like that off because he doesn't like to be unpopular.
Right.
And this is going to be bad news for him if it happens.
Well, he's very slippery, right? Like he causes all this
Yeah.
chaos, and then he backtracks, but he always tries to make himself be the good guy. And at first, he was talking about it's the border, we're sending all these criminals are crossing, and all this fentanyl is coming from Canada to the U.S., which like really is not true. And then he also like when we say, well, okay, we're gonna up our game at the border, then it's like, well, you know what? There's such a huge trade deficit. Well, fuck, man. There's 40 million of us. There's 400 million of you. Like,
Yeah.
are we going to be equal in trade? Like, come on, for real.
I don't understand what the problem is with the trade deficit, especially when there's disparity in the numbers of people. We're a big country. We have a lot of money and we have a lot of people. Most anybody we trade with, there's going to be a trade deficit because we have more shit. I don't even know why that's a big deal at this point.
Well, Jesus Christ, California, it's got the 5th largest GDP in the world. Of course.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, California is about the size, sorry, not geographically, but how many residents do you have in California? Is it about 40 million?
that sounds right to me.
It could be,
Okay.
yeah.
So, just to put things into perspective, if there's 40 million people living in the state of California, there's 40 million people living in all of Canada,
Right.
right?
Right.
And we have this massive, landmass, right? So it's we're not exactly equal on things, but one really good thing that's kind of come of all this, and I'm noticing it on my excuse me, on my TikTok, on my For You page, is that from coast to coast to coast up here, like I'm seeing lists coming up on my page, on my feed, where it's like,
Right.
these products are Canadian, these products are made in Canada. Like, okay, so instead of buying Heinz ketchup, why don't we buy French's ketchup? Instead of buying this, if you're a baker, let's say, at home, okay, so instead of buying this type of flour, buy Robin Hood flour. So there's this
Right.
last week or two, there's all these lists with retailers and products like in every category. So we're kind of buckling down over here, and so it's not even like what the government is going to do, but we're going to try to speak with our little dollars and just try to buy more Canadian.
Hey, I'm from
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, and if you don't buy Heinz ketchup, that's an automatic death sentence.
Oh no.
Yeah, right. I agree. I was just thinking that.
Are you from Ontario?
I'm from Ontario. I'm my hometown, if you want to call it a hometown, is the largest city in Canada. I'm from Toronto, Ontario.
We're your neighbors in
Beautiful place.
Pennsylvania. We're from Erie. Rebecca and I are from Erie, so we're your
Oh my
neighbors.
gosh. So my daughters and I last Saturday, I want to say, we thought, oh no, sorry, it wasn't last Saturday. It was the Saturday before the inauguration. Okay. So that was what, the 18th. So every once in a while, I've got 3 girls, and we love just to hop in the car, and typically we will cross at either Fort Erie, Buffalo, or we'll cross at Niagara Falls.
Yeah, the peach.
And just go for the day and have lunch and do some shopping. So 2 weeks ago when we came over, um, I said, you know what, let's go a little further this time. Let's not just do like the normal thing, because we kind of said to ourselves, we don't know what's going to happen once he gets into office. We don't know prices and just what's going on. So this might be our last trip for a while. So we actually went to Erie, Pennsylvania. We went to the
Wow.
casino. We went to
It's
the
too bad we
casino
didn't know
there.
that. We would have totally shown you around and told you, brought you to all the good spots.
Oh, that would have been awesome. But yeah, we
Now,
really enjoyed our day.
Did you
now,
go?
Gypsy,
Yes.
tell me you didn't bring any fentanyl. Please tell me that.
Oh my God.
Well,
Well,
my girls are pretty sneaky and they wanted to make some extra money. So
Well, yeah, you know.
all
And you got sent out by ICE, right?
yes,
Those damn
yes.
Canadians.
all
The
you
damn Canadians.
all you Canadians know that there's no tax on clothes in Pennsylvania.
Yes. And is it also true that there's no tax on shoes?
Yes, that's true.
Yes, true. Yeah, you go to any outlet mall anywhere in Pennsylvania, and it's like you can spend $100 and get $1,000 worth of stuff, and there's no tax on it. It's freaking
That-
awesome.
That's
Yeah,
amazing. That's awesome.
That's the way it is in Minnesota too. There's no tax on clothes or food.
Really?
You
Oh,
know,
food.
We have
regular
tax
grocery
here on
food.
prepared
Right.
food to eat in, but not to go.
Right,
It's weird.
Oh. Okay.
right.
I would the same
Exactly.
way that way on food. If it's grocery items, no tax. If it's prepared but cold, no
Right.
tax. If it's hot, you got to pay tax.
Hey Eric,
Oh,
But that, and I tell you what, when my wife and I go out to dinner, which is a lot because that's our social life, we make a point. Donald Trump wants to take taxes off of tips.
right.
And we make a point every time we go out to dinner and we pay our bill, we always pay the tip in cash. We might pay the bill with a card, but pay it
Yes.
in cash so
Yes.
they can stuff it in their pocket and not pay taxes if they don't have to.
I love that. I love that. And I just want to give you folks just like a little bit of my background. So I'm Canadian, but 10 years ago, I did something that I had said I wanted to do, since I was a teenager, and I got my motorcycle license. So
Wow.
fast forward to pre-COVID times, and I had two bucket lists. So bucket list number one was I wanted to ride my motorcycle, like not tow it somewhere, not fly somewhere and ride my bike, but on my own bike from Toronto, Ontario. I wanted to ride my motorcycle in every Canadian province.
wow.
Wow.
Bucket list number two was I wanted to ride my same bike in all of the lower 48 states. I wasn't going to go to Alaska, I wasn't going to go to Hawaii, but I wanted to ride through all 48 states. And this is why I have such a love of the United States, because COVID, when the border closed for 18 months, that messed me up for a long time, and I was not a happy camper. But
Not for nothing. Your lumber imports during during COVID, it messed us up for 18 months too. So
oh, right, yeah, because nothing was flowing. But as of so not this past September, but the September before, I was very proud to say that I had ridden through all of your 48 lower states. So
Wow.
I love them all. I have such fond memories. There are states that I would never want to ride through again, and there's states that I want to go back to so bad. And I'm hoping that with whatever Trump does, whatever's going to happen, that the love that I have for being down there and spending time there and, having these motorcycle adventures, I hope to one day be able to continue those again.
How long did that take?
Absolutely. Well, Gypsy, I want to thank you for coming on. I got a bunch more people want to come on,
Thank
but I
you.
appreciate it. And
Wish us luck.
in spite of, wish us luck for fuck's
Yes.
sake. But in spite of what Donald Trump might say, we love the Canadians, and we hope this doesn't cause any more problems than absolutely necessary.
And
Gypsy,
and,
But
and
Gypsy,
we
I'm
love
gonna
you guys.
DM you because I would love to get together with you sometime. And we ride scooters. We have Vespas and Lambrettas, so maybe we'll go on a little ride
Nice.
together sometime.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You folks have a great weekend.
You too.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Occasionally, I'll ride my SUV up to the gas station. That's pretty impressive for me. Riding a motorcycle all over the country. That's impressive. All right, I got a couple of people here that want to get on. This one we've had many times before. Michael, I'm sure Michael's got some things to say either about the crash or the tariffs or something. Let's see if she comes up here. Hey, Michael, how you doing?
How's it going? How you guys doing tonight?
Good.
We're doing all right. What's on your mind?
Well, because it was one of the earlier topics that you guys were first discussing, the crash, with
Right.
the chopper and everything. And I'm gonna say from the get-go, that I've already got my bias, having served in the military. I wasn't aviation or anything, but I've been in the birds and I know protocol. And one of my best friends was a helicopter pilot for 20. He did his 20 and got out and opened a garage and became a mechanic and a garage owner. But my opinion about that whole deal is that civilian aircraft was on a final descent on VFR. It was flying instrument on a final descent. Now, a final descent is, talk to any pilot, that's a pretty locked in deal with the tower,
Right.
because you have your threshold of altitude, and in a descent, you can pull back up on the stick and come out of a descent if you have the space, and if you have an emergency set. But that was a civilian aircraft on a final descent, VFR on instruments. And the military aircraft, because of its nomenclature and because it was flying visual, I'm sorry. That military aircraft could have evaded. The mobility of a helicopter is profound. If you've ever been
Right.
in one and see the moves they can make, even on short notice. And if he's flying visual, and I didn't see any evidence of fog or any visual obstructions.
Well, you can see it on
not to
video
mention the
from a
fact that
distance,
over a
so-
waterway.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, we just watch, just wait and see, just see. I'm waiting. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm waiting to see Hegseth exonerate the military aircraft when it's probably at fault.
Yeah.
I'll die on that rock pile,
Yeah.
and then we'll just all wait and see. The other thing that with your guest, your Trumplifuck guest, who was at least courteous, unfortunately, and I'm sure you guys felt the same thing on some level. Unfortunately, he didn't have much to say. Now,
No,
I
he
have
didn't.
found this to be prevalent among the Trumplifucks because, for example, well, I like his policies. And then you ask them to delve in the policies and be specific about what policies they like so much. Another thought that I had was because he framed himself as a conservative.
Right.
Other than abortion, which we all know what Trump did with Roe v. Wade and his packed Supreme Court, I failed to see a lot of truly conservative behavior. It's certainly not in his foreign policy. It's not in how he handles the military. He's not fiscally conservative because his tax breaks for the rich in the last round shot us up in $7 more trillion in debt. So I'm really hard pressed with these Trump fucks who want to say that they're conservative. I mean, I'm a liberal and I'm more conservative than these Trumpers and Trump himself
Well, that
in terms of.
The impression I get from these people, and I was trying to show that with this guy, there is no serious political mindset. There is no policy that they even understand. Sad as it may seem, we just got a bunch of fanboy and fangirls. They like him because he's cool, or they like him because he's strong, but they have no basis for believing that.
That guy, I actually like. I feel if we had, because he was pretty rational. I mean,
Relatively.
he was pretty respectful as far as Trump the fucks go. But I feel like if we had pressed him on issues with like calm, just how do you, why did you vote for that? Like what were your issues and what, like we probably could have questioned him into, he was actually a Democrat and just doesn't know he is because his upbringing or his association and whatever, because I feel like a lot of Trump, some of them are like so hardcore, it's ridiculous, like the MAGA crowd. But I feel like there are a lot of people who, if you actually got to sit down with them one-on-one and have actual conversations with them and ask them actual questions, their views are similar to ours. They just don't know any better because they don't watch the right media. They don't get the right message.
The ones that I've talked to, I usually get in a confrontational type thing and we argue back and forth. But what I recognize from these people, if I had a conversation like we had with the Trump guy, they're pretty weak-minded people. They're not serious thinkers. And I'm not saying that to be mean. They are just looking at a big picture. Oh, I like this guy, like I like Brad Pitt, or I like whoever.
Well, he
There's
said
really
that.
no
He
thought
said as
process
much.
behind it.
Right, and he wouldn't answer the question that I asked him.
Right, exactly.
Further, it was silence. He just went silent because he knew he couldn't explain it.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it's
those
like I
are the
said-
people that we need to be reaching, though. Like, those are the people that need to, like,
An
people like
education.
us to sit down with them one-on-one and, like, go through all the issues and actually find out what their thoughts are. And there's a good chance that they just voted for Trump because they don't know any better, because they watch the wrong media, because there's not everybody out there that voted for Trump because like they really believe he's in their best interest, because they know that for a fact. They believe he's in their best interest because that's what they see on the media they watch.
I feel like if they started wearing orange spray tan, I might have had them. I might have had them.
Probably.
Yeah. Rebecca, I couldn't agree with you more. What I'm seeing here, I'm a former psychotherapist and there's a little in counseling psychology. I'm going to steal a little bit from Captain Danielle Masnick's Young's book, Culture, where she talks about the U.S. Army as the cult and talks about the cult behavior of them.
Hey,
Michael. She was actually an intelligence officer in the 101st Air.
Michael.
Huh?
Michael.
You're breaking up there, Michael.
Yeah.
Go stand by the window because your signal's not real good.
Yeah.
Michael.
Okay. How's
Stand by
that?
the window. Yeah, that's better.
Any better?
Yes, that's
Not
better.
better.
Is that better?
Yes.
Much better.
That's better. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So Rebecca was saying, like, I think these people think they know that they like Trump, but they don't know why.
Yeah, I agree.
And the reason why they don't know why is because they've been basically subversified by a cult.
Yeah,
If
they're
your only
uneducated.
source of information,
They're uneducated, and I don't mean in the sense of like they didn't have schooling. I mean uneducated in the fact that they only watch one form of news
correct,
that tells them.
correct, exactly. And that's what I'm saying, is because it's almost like funneling. It's like classical conditioning. You're just funneling the same, you ring the bell every time the puppy eats, it's going to associate the bell with food and salivate.
Right.
But they ring the bells on Fox. They get them agitated. Some part of their psyche taps into the anger of it all, and then suddenly along comes Donald Trump to assuage the anger, and that's why they're calling him Daddy. I mean, maybe they're just needing to come out, but I've never seen so many grown men call another grown man Daddy.
It's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with that.
If,
I made this
if
comparison. I made this comparison.
But I think it highlights the point. It highlights the point of how they have been subverted. You know, it's cultish to refer to a leader as Daddy. That's
Go ahead,
Kim
Eric.
Jong Un-ish.
Go ahead, Eric.
Well, I was going to say, I made this comparison last night on Will's Live. It's like they pick their favorite sports team, and they're just cheering for their team. And they've been a fan of that team for their entire life. They don't even know why they're a fan of that team anymore. Oh, I've cheered Republican my whole life. I got to be excited about my team. But at some point, do you turn away from your team and go, this is dumb. Politics is not sports. And that's part of it too. Like they're not getting any information that lets them change that opinion because Fox feeds it to them. They don't tell them everything. And it's so bizarre that they call him Daddy. I don't know.
Daddy who
Yeah,
wears a diaper.
Daddy who wears a diaper. Yeah. Well, Michael, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. I'm going to get to a bunch more people. Stay with us. It's always great to hear your insights and perspectives. You obviously have some unique insights, and it's valuable. So thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Hey, did you guys see the thing today
Thanks,
about
guys.
California?
What's that?
About the that anybody who's affected by a natural disaster is going to have they're trying to make it so that they have the right to sue like oil companies or anybody who possibly could have contributed to that natural disaster.
Hadn't heard that.
I hadn't heard that either.
Yeah, look it up. Like it's an actual, they're trying to make it law that anybody who is affected by a natural disaster can sue. It's insurance companies and individuals can sue oil companies or like companies like that are possibly involved in causing disasters due to their like negligence or whatever the case is.
Due to climate change.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Climate
Well,
change.
I'm bringing somebody else in here, and I'll do what my kids
Hey,
do
Will.
to me.
Hey, guys.
I'm doing what my
Hey,
kids do to me when I start talking. They go, "Oh, here we go, here we go."
fire-
What's on your
The
mind?
fire is here. The fire is
Yeah,
here.
we had a good 2 hours last night. That was interesting, and we had one Trump-fuck who was like that, who went into a total denial of vaccines. By the way, TJ, I found out why we got the warning. I took that highlight of him and put it up, and I got an instant taken down. I won the appeal, but that's who was the guy who did it to
Yeah,
us.
sorry,
night.
Will. I
That's-
was pushing for him to come on because I was itching for the fight with because I was
Yeah,
like,
it was.
for it to be
Yeah,
interesting.
that was. Yeah,
Rebecca.
the one thing I want. Go ahead,
Don't,
TJ. I'm sorry.
don't set Will up for failure.
I wasn't setting up for failure. I thought it was going to be an interesting conversation.
Oh, it was. It was
It was.
interesting. But the one thing I wanted to bring up real quick, because honestly, guys, I'm going to make a quick statement and bail because I had to be up early and wanted to let you guys get a lot of more perspectives than mine. I saw Mike and I, and a lot of people were on Substack, and I get a lot of Substacks. And Dan Rather is on Substack. He's been on there for a while.
Oh, really?
And he sent out a long form note or one of the essays they write, and the essay was, "My heart goes out for CBS News." I go, "What?" And I read it. So there were two incidents, big incidents with Trump and the media during the election: the George Stephanopoulos thing and 60
Right.
Minutes. He sued for both. Disney settled for Stephanopoulos because they didn't want to get into a fight with Trump. Apparently, CBS News is about to throw 60 Minutes under the bus and settle with Trump over they edited only the good parts for Kamala blah blah bullshit. If it got to a court, it'd be done. But the reason is, since CBS is owned by Paramount has got some serious money problems, and they're trying to get a merger going or get sold. They're afraid if they don't settle, the Trump DOJ is going to fuck them. So they're going to let him get one more step into the media. And to piggyback on that, the new FCC chairman is threatened already to go after NPR and PBS for some kind of weird ass thing, saying that they got advertisements going on and they're going after them. This is the beginning of the crushing of the First Amendment any way they can. Because the mass media sold out months ago. PBS and NPR? What purpose does that serve other than making them scared to go after Trump in any way? And
they want to get rid of NPR.
Go ahead.
They want to stop the funding for NPR.
But NPR could probably get enough people to support them. The issue is that I've never seen. It's basically Trump took his first term, saw with the lay of land, he shows up again, and literally he is just taking a bat to all the apparatus of the federal government. They don't know how it works. They're just going to break it down and punch it out and break the walls and just, tear it down, because their goal is to tell everyone, why am I not getting my Social Security check? Because it doesn't work. Yeah, because you guys broke it. Same thing with the FAA. I saw the article on the plane crash in Philadelphia in a residential street. No accidents in 16 years. 2 within 2 weeks of Trump. Two. Yeah, and the thing about it is that's what they literally crushed the FAA. They literally just took out the director of that, took out the director of TSA, took the director out. Why? Because they want to replace them with their own people whose only qualification is that they are loyal to Trump. And that is scary as fuck. And oh, by the way, Trump, no, inflation is caused by tariffs, you stupid fuck. Don't stand behind the Resolute desk and go, yeah, tariffs are going to be bad for us in the short term, but they won't. But I know it won't raise inflation. Are you out of your fucking mind? Economic professors along the world are saying you're full of shit, but not Trump. Yeah. No, God, no, it's all going to be good for us. God damn, we're fucked.
Hey, Will.
He's going to
find out. I'm bringing somebody else in here, Coach Mox. You were with us last time. Coach, what's up?
How you guys doing tonight?
Doing good.
Good.
All right. Could be worse.
Right. I appreciate you having me on. I was just, I kind of came in when you had the Trumper in here, and was just catching some of that. I don't think that guy knows what the hell he wants, to be honest.
No, I don't either.
I know he said he farmed. I'd wager against that one as well, but yeah, just talking about the media thing and what he's doing to that, and you couldn't be any more correct. I mean, I feel like he's just taking a sledgehammer to anything and everything that he possibly can, and as unethical as some of these moves are, he's now threatening the U.S. aid that provides so much relief to poverty and natural disasters and stuff like that. FEMA, it's just a disgrace right now, and you got to catch yourself. I had to take a break today and just take a walk, get away from it. But when you come back, there's just something else. It's like one thing after another after another.
The question I've been having, I've been seeing people talk about this in the comments. This whole thing with Elon Musk trying Treasury Department and the payment systems and stuff. And I got people out here saying you probably drained Social Security. I don't want people to get too excited about some of this stuff, but it is troubling seeing Elon Musk, who's not elected, who's not even really part of the government, going in and making demands of our various departments. That is troubling.
Isn't he still a contractor, a government? I mean, we are. I don't understand how that's even legally.
It's not.
I mean, how
It's
can
not,
you be
Coach.
contracted through the government? And I know he broke the law, even being a contractor. He can't even donate to a campaign, which he obviously. How many millions did he donate to Trump? So
250.
and they're just going along breaking the law. That's the part which is so frustrating right now to me is no accountability.
Well, you know,
And
the thing about it is, in normal situations, you would say, oh, the DOJ would do something about it, but the DOJ is controlled by Donald Trump. So there does seem to be no guardrails. That's why it's kind of incumbent on the Republicans. They're going to have to say, this is fucked up. We need to do something. It's just a
yeah,
matter of if they have the balls to do it.
it just reminds. I guess it's just a reminder of how fragile democracy can be. And I think our founding fathers never thought that we'd ever elect such a a pathetic, a convicted felon. We wouldn't put a convicted felon in office. We didn't kind of
Right.
structure things that way.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, it is crazy times because we've always thought there's norms and rules and laws that nobody would ever cross over because God forbid they'd have to pay the wrath of Congress or the DOJ. And what we found out in the last 8 years is they're fucking toothless. You can do whatever
Right.
you want
And
if you got enough money and power.
I saw one of my followers sent a video, one of the creators talking about all of a sudden, I think in Wisconsin, Minnesota, the Democrats are having an emergency meeting about what to do. And
Yeah.
first thing I thought, they're going to come out and with a plan to Senator Trump. Hey guys, you're a little late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of, that fucking horses out the window, out the barn, and I don't believe it. And the thing about it is, why isn't anyone filing lawsuits left and right for immigration, for violating Fourth Amendment,
I
for
think they
what's
are.
going
I
on
think
with?
they are.
But I don't hear a goddamn word from it.
Well,
It's
Well,
just
that's
like they're
because
not in federal court.
well,
Will, it's not that they're not happening.
well,
It's
you
the
won't.
legacy medias aren't reporting on it.
Well, and
They're
then
not
also,
reporting.
if anything is ever pushed to the Supreme Court, you already know the fucking result.
Well, you won't hear about it right away because it starts at a lower level.
Oh.
Then they made a mistake. They
So
should have
of
filed at the
course, it's
federal
not going to
level in
attract major
Washington,
media
D.C.
attention until it gets up to a higher court.
Right.
Right.
But see, the courts take forever. They should have gone right straight injunction, federal court, with the nearest federal court, and made it the federal judge do a immediate stop. See, that's what they did with the freeze. That's why it got all that public attention. That's why it stopped them, and Trump freaked out on it because he thought he could do it in quiet. And
Yeah.
so they're not doing that. They should go to the federal courts. Fuck the lower courts. Go right into the federal court because these are federal issues.
Well,
Yeah.
I know it comes down to like where is our last hope? Like what do we have any kind of faith in that's going to step up here? And this may sound a little crazy. I don't know. Maybe it's my last bit of faith that I do have in humanity is that we have enough good people in our military
Yeah.
that there will be some resistance. This guy has gone against the Constitution. He's already fucking with veterans and their benefits. When he froze the funds the other night, there were veterans the next day that had appointments that were canceled, things that it disrupted some things. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just one small thing that he's done when you start with the John McCain thing and the disgrace at Arlington, Cemetery. And
Yes.
it just goes on and on. And, as me as my father served, my grandfather, my uncles in Vietnam, just military, you know, I hope that there's resistance there, and we have.
It's the hardest thing for all of us. The context is beyond a lot of people's belief. The bubble-headed bleach blonde who comes on at 5, the press secretary, was asked if Canada shut down all the electricity and imports, you know, basically made everyone go dark in the north. What would Trump reaction? Her statement was, Trump told me to tell you Jesus didn't have electricity.
That was a.
Okay, so understand there's such a religious context to this. This is where the hardest thing to fight, because you can't fight such cults. That woman got up in the White House press room and told people in like where Mike lives, hey, the electricity, you don't need it. We'll have it, but you don't need it because Trump says it's okay. What the fuck?
Well,
And that's where Congress is going to have to come in and say, okay, you know what? If the backlash is big enough, we only need 3 Republican representatives to agree with all Democrats for impeachment articles. 3.
that's true.
And we've been hearing I don't remember where I read the article, and there's been a lot of creators on here talking about it, that somebody leaked it to the media that the Republican senators have said if they get articles of impeachment, they have the votes to remove him.
Yeah.
If that's true, we only need 3. And if part of the country goes dark and Donald Trump comes back out and goes, it's okay, Jesus didn't have electricity, I bet you that's the fastest you've ever seen articles drawn up and passed, probably the fastest piece of legislation ever passed.
I tell you what I'm most fearful of. We're at a point where people are freaking out. The DOJ doesn't seem to be willing to help us. The Congress doesn't seem to be willing to help us. Donald Trump keeps pushing the envelope and just seeing how far he can go. My greatest concern is this all comes down to some dramatic, horrific event. And I'm not going to say what it is, but
I agree.
that seems like maybe the only option to a lot of folks. I don't know what that would be really, but it's not going to be good.
No. This country hasn't seen in a very long time, a people actually. I don't know that this will happen, but there will be a time that you can only kick a dog, no matter, I don't care what kind of dog it is, be the nicest dog in the world. You can kick it and kick it and kick it, and finally it's going to turn around and finally bite your ass. And I see something either spilling out into the streets, and I hope, we all hope that it never comes to that. But the way he is just being so reckless right now, that's a very strong possibility. I mean, these tariffs,
Absolutely.
these tariffs are so reckless. I work in construction. I know what he did in 2019, and anybody that even tries to talk to me about tariffs, right? He put a tariff on Canadian lumber in 2019, and this has never been covered enough in media. You want to talk about a reason why home prices went up? All right, I know. And when we had to pay more for lumber, all right, we passed that right on to the home buyer. And it's just a simple process. And what he's doing here with this broad tariff on certain products, it's a disaster.
But I don't understand the reason why, because the economy was humming.
It's fine.
There was no reason for this tariffs things. He hasn't given us a reason why, other than he needed some economic plan and he got stuck on this.
Will, he doesn't have a fundamental understanding on how tariffs work.
Because he thinks, he's got them thinking that, and this is the new Fox thing now, is that America needs to be self-sustainable, all right, which is a bunch of shit.
Dear God.
That's a joke.
It's a joke.
It's a joke.
But now he's got all these, his following. That's their new saying now. It's not grocery prices now. It's we need to be self-sustainable now. They've switched it up on us here. You know, it was groceries.
Hey, Coach, how are we going to be self-sustainable getting rare earth minerals that we don't have here?
And that's the thing. I hope if you ever get the chance, and some of you guys might know this, but look up American Ethane. That's our biggest ethane producer in the country. It's in Houston. It's 97% owned by Russia now. Okay, and Donald Trump.
That's great.
Donald Trump made this deal. He made a deal with China to buy that because I think it's the ethanol, the byproduct is what they use to make plastic. And they signed the biggest, I don't know, it's millions and millions of dollars, this contract. So now our natural resource comes out of the ground in Houston. It's sold to China and the money is collected in Russia. And he's talking about America being self-sustainable.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys this, though. Donald Trump, like Coach said, he's being reckless, and the tariffs and how it will affect us. It's going to affect the people that support him, the big companies. They are going to take a beating. And when you do that, there's got to be some pushback from them, too. I mean, they may like Donald Trump for the tax cuts, but if you're going to destroy their business because of tariffs, I can't imagine they're just going to sit there and allow that to happen.
Yeah, do you really think that all these like big business and corporations don't get their products from China, Canada, and Mexico?
Can you find one economist right now, just one, that says this will help us?
Yeah,
and not, put us in a
Hell no.
dramatic. There are none that actually, that aren't gonna go on Fox News or something.
To answer Mike's question, here's the thing about what's going to happen. It's all going to get whitewashed by their news sources, right? Yeah. So all these people that are suffering because of Donald Trump's policies, it's going to be spun for them to believe something different.
Oh yeah,
that's what's going to happen.
They're already doing it.
These people are
historically so.
They're going to get fucked by Donald Trump and not even know that they are being fucked by Donald Trump because they're going to blame. They're going to spin it to say, "Oh, the Democrats are doing this; they're not cooperating with the Republican House and Senate, and it's all their fault." They're going to blame the whole fucking thing on the Democrats, like they always do.
Like the plane crash.
Yes. I think it's going to be a little different because they're setting people up for what's going to happen, and it's a 1984 thing. The 1984 thing is that Big Brother's looking out for you, Trump. That's why they call him Daddy. You might mention why they call him Daddy.
I think it's Big Brother's watching you.
Big Brother is what he
loves. Sex with him. That's why they call him Daddy.
Well, that's why Grindr collapsed.
It's it's good. It's going to work on some of them, and a lot of them, all of them are saying this is what we need. It's easy to say that right now, but when this shit really does hit, in your home, and you're struggling, and you're trying to figure out how to, buy something now that's fucking twice as expensive as it was, there will be people that finally say, "All right, I've had enough." Now the the diehards will be in the streets with no shoes. And maybe they'll tell him Jesus had no shoes, but they'll be supporting him still.
That's an excellent.
And the thing about it is, the setup is, and part of the setup is, eventually economies do kind of rebound, and if prices start going down, it's like that scene in 1984 where Big Brother reduced the chocolate ration because of the war, but then a month later, he tells them, I increased it to the same amount that he reduced it to as a reward to you guys. And they will buy it. They will buy it because they are so deep in the religion right now. This is a religious experience for him. Have you noticed that Trump looks more orange lately? That the makeup is brighter and brighter?
Almost, it used to be burnt orange. Now it's more circus orange.
But the point is that he's trying to
neon every day.
Well, here's the thing: we know it's a joke, but to those people, they think he's radiating They think he's becoming like Christ himself. You know what? We laugh, but that's where they're at. They're that deep in it. I made a video about his false equivalency to God. The comments that I had to delete were ridiculous.
Hey,
They
Will.
literally were the most blasphemous thing I ever read in my life.
Will, the only
I
thing
mean,
the only thing Donald Trump is radiating is stench from his diaper. That's the only thing
Yeah.
he's radiating.
Well,
Absolutely.
I live in the South, so when you speak of religion and what I've had to witness around here in North Carolina, they heard him on an audio, a recorded audio, bragging how he essays women.
Yeah.
Yet I got to turn around and listen to how Christ sent him to save us.
Yeah.
And
and you know their excuse, being someone in Georgia, their excuse is, well, every man sins.
Oh yeah, that's
I mean, that's their excuse. They have the hardest thing for me is that we had a good church, a Methodist church. We had good pastors.
Yeah.
Then they replaced the pastor with a Trump-la-fuck. And my God, we couldn't get out of there quick enough because it wasn't about religion. It wasn't about Christ's message. It was about politics and what we could do to help them. And fuck that.
Well,
we were out. But it breaks my heart. I like that church.
and they use what they love to use is the pro-life thing, right? And the anti-abortion. And I was raised in a Catholic church, right? And I said something to someone that maybe I shouldn't have said it, but honestly, if they didn't have altar boys, they had altar girls, I bet they wouldn't be so fucking anti-abortion.
Probably right.
That's
Probably
such
right.
a valid point. And as an ex-Catholic coach, I got you.
I'm sorry.
I got you. I totally get it, brother.
Well, I don't know because the priests aren't really, engaged with the women.
That's true too.
Like
Well,
they are
maybe
with the little boys,
maybe if
so.
altar boys could get pregnant,
That
they would
might
be-
stop their temptation.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Well, Coach, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna try to get some other people. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me again. Y'all be good.
Blue Sky 53 made a comment that said like Trump's makeup artist must be a liberal.
Well, he's certainly liberal with the orange bullshit.
How much is that
that's-
costing us? How much is that makeup every day costing us? Honestly,
How much are we
taxpayer
spending
money.
how much are we spending in diapers? I mean, Jesus Christ! When I had young kids and I had to buy diapers, that was
That's
costly.
expensive shit.
They're
This
fucking
guy's shitting his
expensive.
pants 4 times a day.
Yeah.
It's just wow. It is frustrating. I'm going to bring up JD Farmer. I feel safe here because he's been on this before,
Hey, JD.
and I don't have to.
Hey,
I
JD,
don't have
what's
to
up,
worry.
brother?
JD.
Between diapers and golf, we're gonna go broke.
Well, I was thinking
Yeah.
Diet Coke too. I can't imagine how much Diet Coke money we're spending.
Oh, he put that button back in. I know he did. Oh my God, that poor Stewart.
Oh my God. Yeah, so my cousin is an airline pilot. I'm not going to name the airline, but we were talking about this today, this crash, and he said that it's not, for flying over big cities like that, it's not unusual for people to be, to not see planes and stuff, and for, like he said that according to the records that he heard, the chopper was in contact with the tower, and the tower told him to look out for a plane that should have been ahead of him. But he said that he saw it, but my cousin thought that he probably saw either another plane or something from the city lights.
Well, there
Thought
was
it
another
was
plane coming from the right. Remember, there was another plane coming up while
Yeah.
the other plane was directly in front of him. But he made no evasive maneuvers. I mean, it was like a straight shot in. It was weird.
Yeah, I don't, and he didn't really say anything about that, but he said it was like he said it's happened to him before where he'll have, they'll tell him to watch out for something, and it's not in the place that they told him to look or something like that, just because of
Yeah.
two moving targets, and then you have the city lights, and then stars or whatever else, and they're right over the Potomac, and the water could be doing funny things. And he said it's just like, it seems really weird, but it could just be a visual. Something was messing with his eyes or something like that. But I mean, that being said, you'd think you'd see a fucking airplane right in front of you.
You would think so, and the thing about it is that there are tons of people out there talking about conspiracy theories. Oh, it came from a place that's owned by Saudi Arabia. We don't know this, and it's just like with the election. Everybody's got their conspiratorial ideas, but the fact of the matter is, it could have just been a human error, just a screw up.
I was talking to TJ's brother again today, who, as we said the other night, he's a plane enthusiast and he works for an airline. And he said that he read that the helicopter pilot was wearing night vision goggles. So, which I can't imagine enhances your depth perception.
Yeah,
Well, maybe.
Well, I want to say
It doesn't.
I want to say something about I don't know who here has seen the video from the Philadelphia crash. There's been a couple.
Yeah, I saw the aftermath.
Well, no, the video of the actual plane hitting the ground.
Yeah, I did. It looked like
Good
it was.
Lord.
And I don't know much about aviation. I know a little bit, but I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. But the way that crash happened almost seems deliberate, because planes have, lifters and things that, if they were going to crash, they could kind of like take the plane and move it upward to slow themselves down. And it wasn't like that. It was like, it was full on, full thrust right into the ground.
I
Yeah, it
will
looked
tell
like
you
a
the amount
meteor.
of amount
Looked like a
It
video
was
meteor.
like
I
a
saw.
missile. It was like,
unless it was a medical emergency for the pilot or something.
The amount of
I mean,
flames
it was a
and
Learjet.
fire and smoke I saw was insane. Like, there's no way that small plane. I can't imagine there wasn't
Even if-
something else going on there.
even if you lost engine power, you would take the plane and tilt it so the belly was moving upward to slow yourself down. This plane
Right.
came directly down like a missile right into the ground. Like, that seems to me like either it was deliberate or there was something severely wrong with the pilot.
Yeah, because there seemed to be no effort. I watched it, and I was surprised when I saw it. It looked like a meteor hitting the earth.
Yeah.
It dropped really fast,
It was like a missile.
nose first.
Right.
I
That's
would be curious to see what the pilot, what the black box shows, because I wonder if the pilot may have had a heart attack or had a medical emergency or something like that, and he just fucking couldn't react to it or something.
JD, we
Well,
can't call it a black box anymore. Donald Trump says we have to call it a white box.
Oh,
Yeah.
Just so you know,
the DEI box.
it
Yeah.
has to be a white box now.
Now, I don't know about this, but somebody, Steve out there says a bird strike will cause this type of accident unless you have enough speed and altitude. I don't know that that's true, but
Look what happened
Well,
with
that New York,
the incident on the Hudson.
the Hudson. Yep, absolutely. Well,
Yeah,
I lived there at that
But
time.
the
Yep.
plane, no, but listen, the plane that landed in the Hudson River, the captain was able to lift the plane up enough to gently land it in the water.
Yeah, the hero.
It wasn't like
Hudson.
a missile strike straight into the ground. That's what I'm
Right.
telling you guys.
absolutely.
There's something that
absolutely.
happened there. Unfortunately, it's
Well, we all
it's
know
not.
what
It's going to be.
happened. The pilot or somebody on the plane or somebody in FAA was DEI hire.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh
Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
Obviously, the guy was gay. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't fly a plane if you're gay.
You can't
Right?
fly a plane if you're gay. Everybody knows that.
Oh my God.
Clearly, they were hired because for a quota.
Yeah, no kidding, no kidding. JD, thanks for joining us. We're
Thanks
coming
for
toward the
bringing
end
me
here,
on.
but I'm going to try to get some other folks on here too. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, JD.
Bye, JD.
Hey, JD, we'll talk later, brother. Thank you
Yeah.
for everything.
So we had this
All right.
plane crash, but the other thing that happened today, this comes on the heels of. Did you see Donald Trump signed an executive order? He wants to eliminate 10 rules for every new one new regulation he puts in.
What?
Yeah.
That's going to cause more issues like this.
Yeah.
Ay, ay, ay.
Oh my god.
10 for every one new rule. They want to cut the government red tape and shrink the bureaucracy. The rules and regulations are there for a goddamn reason. They came because people had issues, because problems arose. We saw what happened, and now we put the rules in place to prevent it from happening again. And on top of needing to eliminate 10 rules for every new federal regulation we put in place, it has to have a net zero or lower effect on the government budget.
Well, hey, let's think about this though. Obviously, this plane crash is going to get investigated by the National Transportation Safety Administration, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
So-
TSB, yeah.
Yes, NTSB. So, any other time in history, I would say that the NTSB would come up with a reasonable, analysis of what happened. At this time in history, and this time in our present state, I don't think I'm going to trust what comes out because Donald Trump controls the narrative about what comes out on the NTSB.
Well, did you see? I think we talked about it last night, TJ. They had a press conference. The NTSB guy was talking about what they know so far, and a reporter goes, "Well, then was it caused by DEI?" And the guy looked at him, "What are you talking about? I'm just trying to report this." And he handed it off to someone else. So they're really sane-washing this bullshit.
Yeah.
And the NTSB is like going, "We just want to investigate and do our job, but this is getting in the way." And that's the thing. There is, I don't get the insanity because I'm normal. Why are you fucking with an investigation of an aircraft?
Well,
What is your motive for this?
that was brought up earlier in this live is that they're going to skew the narrative. They're going to dismiss the facts and make it fit that the military wasn't at fault. It was the commercial aircraft that was at fault.
Who was in a locked-in landing?
Right.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
They want to affect the narrative, but one of the other things they're trying to do here with it is they want to make sure that this doesn't affect any of the other stuff they're trying to do. So Donald Trump wants to do this deregulation thing. Well, if it comes out that a regulation he got rid of could have avoided this collision, we're never going to hear about it.
No.
Never going to hear about it. He's going to want to
Absolutely.
bury it because he wants to make sure it doesn't make him look bad. The plane crash, 2 nights ago in D.C., if the military was at fault, you're not going to hear about it. It's never going to be the military's fault because he thinks that makes him look bad. That's why he came out, signed the executive order, said it's DEI's fault, Obama and Biden. Done.
But see, the thing is,
Not
how
investigated.
is that good? It was an accident. How does it make you look bad? It makes you look bad when you go on the blame game instead of, hey, our NTSB is going to investigate. My sympathies to the families. We're going to see what happened, and move from there. That's what a true president
Yeah, but
does.
he
There
can't
was no
do that, Will.
reason
He
to do
can't
this.
do that. He can't do
But
that.
why?
He can't say that.
And,
Because he
I
has
mean,
to blame it on somebody because somebody else is going to blame it on him
There's-
if not. And that might be, him just.
Yeah, he's got to blame it on somebody else before he takes the blame. And
Yeah.
first of all, the other two things with it is, aside from the blame, you and I are looking at it, and all of us on this panel are looking at it from a rational, logical mindset. Donald Trump is not rational, logical. He's a narcissist. It's always about him, regardless
That's an
of anything
understatement.
else. And he has dementia. His brain doesn't function correctly on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even if 10 years ago he might have said, okay, well, we can just let him do the investigation. It won't, we can spin it after they come out with the facts. He might have thought that way. He doesn't think that way now because his brain's broken.
Right.
Right, and then,
Yeah.
and
And
then
he's-
he got caught in that press conference in
Right.
which
Well,
the transcript is horrible for him.
I have
Horrible.
Yeah.
I have a grand idea. How about
This ought to be good.
it will be good. How about this big buyout on federal employees? How about all the air traffic controllers take him up on his offer? All of them.
Well, I just heard about something. This happened out in California, out near San Francisco. There's a smaller airport out there. And since Donald Trump took over, they got new contracts. The controllers did. And these new contracts showed them to be making less than they were in the first place.
Oh, of
They
course.
all fucking quit. All of them. They have
That's
no.
awesome.
Oh, that's great.
I love it. I love it.
Except I'm not flying to California anytime soon.
I'm bringing somebody else in here, Joanne. She's been out there for a little bit. Hey, Joanne, how you doing?
Hi. I don't
How
know
you
how I
doing?
got on. I must have requested, huh?
You did. What's on your mind today?
You want to talk now?
Yeah, go ahead, talk. Either one of you.
What's on your mind?
No, I'm 74,
Okay.
and I used to work in a shoe factory,
Okay.
and that was in the 70s. And we have plenty of people on work visas and whatnot. And it was funny because they used to come in with a bus. This is back in the 70s. They used to come in with a bus, go through the factory, because we had 600 employees. They used to go through the factory and check everybody's green card, and whoever didn't have a green card, they load them on the bus and take them away. Now, I ran the floor upstairs, and a bunch of my guys would look at me and goes, "Yeah, we're going, but we'll see you next week."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sure than heck, next week they'd show up and get their jobs back, and it would repeat itself probably maybe once a year. And that was back in the 70s. And the thing is, they haven't done anything in all that time to improve it.
No, they
And
haven't.
it's kind of remarkable because when you think about I get a kick out of all these people that say, well, the immigrants don't pay taxes. They pay like $90 billion since 2022.
Right.
And you think where there was so much tax revenue coming in that the system would have been better by now.
Well, you would think so, but you got the Republicans and the Democrats going back and forth, and they're pushing against each other, and they never get anything accomplished. That's the wonders of our Congress. They don't really accomplish much. They're too
No.
busy fighting with one another.
I have a woman in the complex where I live, and an old Italian woman. She's about 85. She says, and she's a Democrat. She says, I get a kick out of these Republicans. They're as far as abortion goes, they don't want abortion. They want them to have the baby, but once the baby's born, they don't want nothing to do with it.
Exactly. Exactly. They want the power. They don't want to spend the money. I agree with you. Well, thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate that. I know it was a little bit of a surprise and a short notice, but thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we really like you a lot. We love listening to you.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I work for an elevator company, and I had an entrapment, and I switched off and back on because I had to call the fire department to get them out of the elevator. But like when I came back, Joanne turned into a guy. So I'm guessing Joanne and her husband are on.
Yes.
Right.
We're
Okay.
we're
Yeah,
we're
no
a
problem.
pair,
Are
we
you
listen
are you
all
guys
night.
in New York?
You guys are New Yorkers.
No,
we're
Massachusetts.
Oh,
Oh, you're
Boston.
from
Yeah,
Boston.
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I detected like a little bit of a New York accent, and then I wasn't sure, and I was concerned as to why Joanne became
Yeah.
a man all of a sudden.
No, it's really nice listening to all of you because it's really been a sad week it's just sad. I mean, you wake up in the morning sad and you're discouraged and you don't know what to do. And I have granddaughters, and it's just, I feel so sorry for them. I try to explain to them at my age, at 74, what we had to go through for voting, for if you had to have an abortion, it wasn't legal, and all that we fought for women's rights. It just seems like we've lost everything.
You're
Jan,
right.
do you have
Yeah.
any Trumpers in your family?
Yes,
Do you have
and
any
it's
family?
yes, and it's very hard.
I can imagine.
But we
I know
just
it is because I
we
do.
just don't talk about it because I'm a family-oriented woman, and I love my family, and we just don't talk about it.
When they all come over, she makes me put the muzzle on.
Yeah. No, because it's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's dangerous,
You
and
know,
it's torn too many people apart.
I've had the conversation with my brother, who's a Democrat, and I tried to explain to him that, the reason why they're so mad is they know down deep that what this man is all about, and
They know they're wrong.
they know they're wrong, and
Right.
they come up with these excuses and these arguments, and when you hit them with facts, they're like, they change the subject. They don't want to
Yeah,
talk.
they don't.
And
They
gets
don't
offended.
like you exposing their
Oh,
stupidity.
they get offensive.
They do, yeah. So we don't talk about it. I don't like that, but I do talk to my granddaughters, even though that's where it is, because I want my granddaughters to know what we went through, what we had to do.
I mean, I have coffee with a couple guys at the building, and they're in their 80s, and the stuff that comes out of their mouth is exactly what comes out of.
We're surrounded by Trump, is where we live.
It's exactly what comes out of his mouth. When we were having coffee the other day, one of them brought up the part about raking the forest. I'm going like,
Yeah.
where did you hear?
Wow.
Really?
And did they ever lived in California? I have.
No, they have.
And I can tell you it doesn't work like that.
I understand that. Well,
I
I
mean-
tried to tell him, and I brought it up. I brought my computer, and I says, look, he had a conversation with the guy from Finland in November 11th or whatever last year, and that's where he got his raking the leaves. But the president of Finland said, I mentioned nothing about raking the leaves.
Yeah.
Oh, listen,
It's all.
I know. Thank you for letting us ramble on. We're not
No.
able.
Oh, it's okay.
We're not able to do that too much.
Well, you're more than welcome back here anytime.
Yeah,
That's the
please
point.
join again.
Yeah, we love.
Everybody
we
should
love
have a
it.
chance to speak their mind. Yes, absolutely. So, Joanne, what's your first name, sir?
Norman,
Norman?
yeah,
Is it Norman or Norman?
Norman, Norman.
I'm just messing with you here with your accent. But no, thank you.
Norman, yeah,
Thank you
What's
you
that-
very
what's that
much.
Boston accent.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh,
I
thanks so
love Boston
much.
too, by the way.
Well,
Thank you
but,
very
you know,
much.
The people in New Hampshire go, oh, you people from Massachusetts, but Massachusetts. I go, yeah, but where do all you people in New Hampshire work? Massachusetts.
Exactly. We're not big fans of Wisconsin either, so in Minnesota. So I get it. Thank you guys very much. We're coming down to the end of it, so we're going to wrap things up here a little bit. But it's really interesting to see how many people are concerned. Do you ever worry about the fact, any of you guys, that people are going to say, "Fuck, this just seems like nothing we can do. Fuck it, we'll just." I mean, to a certain extent, you have to do that because there's only certain things you can control. You can do what you can do, and you should do that the hardest you can. But it gets really difficult to keep your wits about you when everything, every day, all day, some shit seems to be flying and ridiculous.
We talked about that last night at the end of
Yeah.
my live. It's like there are times where you just want to say, "Oh, whatever, let it burn. I'm done."
Yeah.
It's tough.
Well, I said the same thing last night. I'm going to say now. As much as it's easy to say it and oh my God, let it go. We have to remember. That's why I do the videos kind of the way I do, where I break down what can be done, where the guardrails are, what the courts probably will say, those kind of things. Because we have to remember, he's not getting his way on everything. He's already had
No.
some major court losses. His party has already said, "Yeah, fuck yourself" a couple times. I saw an article that they're questioning whether or not RFK and Tulsi Gabbard get through the confirmation process. It sounds like they may not have the votes for those two, which is a good thing.
Yes.
But just because he's out here saying it doesn't mean it's going to happen. There are things that are, where even this most corrupt Supreme Court is going to have to say, for fuck's sake, if we let him do that, we could be next. And they're going to look out for their own power, their own best interests.
Well,
Let me ask you guys this. Is there a reason you notice Pam Bondi and Russell Vought, they keep delaying the votes on them? Does that seem weird to you?
a little bit.
I think it's because
No, they don't have the votes,
they don't
and they're
have the
trying to
votes.
strong arm people in the background.
Yeah,
get
they're
it. Yeah, I
delaying
agree with that. Yeah,
until they
for
get
sure.
the votes because they're afraid of losing it. I think because they want to get those two through, because they can pass them off as better candidates.
Right.
And if they lose RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, if those two don't make it through, they're like, okay, well, we can get you somebody else that we can at least, we can polish up and make seem presentable.
Yeah, well, Pam Bondi, I can see her making it, but RFK, come on. I mean, it was an embarrassment. The whole fucking thing.
How about Kash Patel? You a big Kash Patel guy?
Oh my God, no!
I don't think he gets through either. I think it's going to be close.
He makes
think
me
it's
throw
gonna
up
be
in
like-
my mouth.
Kash Patel is going to probably he's going to probably lose. He won't get through, but it'll be like 48-52 against. It'll be 49-51. It's going to be closer than it should be, but I don't think he'll make it.
Yeah, Kash Patel's not going to make it. And you guys got to remember something about Kash Patel. He's brown.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Keep that in
That's
mind.
true. He's got that working against him.
Brown.
Yeah, and RFK also. My concern about RFK is that the chairman of I don't know what committee, Lee, is a doctor, and he says instead of saying, this dude cannot do this, he's not qualified. His statement after his hearing was, "I have concerns." Really, you're a doctor, and that's the biggest. The problem I have with these guys, they're so afraid of Trump. They are so afraid of Trump that they'll do anything for him.
I mean,
And
I
that
know he's a
scares the hell out
blackmail
of me.
artist, and there's probably something he has on them, but like, he's a lame duck as far as politics go. Otherwise,
That fear is only going to go so far, though. When the fear of Donald Trump, when they start weighing it against their own power and whether or not they get reelected or whether they can keep the House and the Senate in the midterms, that's when they flip that. The fear only lasts until they have that aha moment going, oh shit, he's fucking us and he's fucking us hard and we don't like it anymore. And then
how long you think that aha moment is going to be until we get to that aha moment? I mean, come on, we've had 2 weeks of like complete shit, total chaos,
I
2
hate-
plane crashes, and that. Like, seriously?
I hate
I
to
had,
say this, outside I'm going to say probably the absolute latest it takes, and this is me saying if they're going to make a move before midterms where they remove, like where they've had the moment and they go to the point of removal of Trump, you're looking at somewhere probably between February, March, and June of 26, right before midterms, where they can
I have a flight booked in May for us, so like I need them to like step up the game so I know I'm safe. Jesus.
Yeah, no shit.
I mean,
No
it's
shit.
it's so much, and I don't. It's why. I mean, again, government should be like an umpire in baseball. It should control everything, but you don't want to talk about the umpire during the game.
No.
And right now, it's all about the umpire and Trump and this and that. And I'm at a loss of words half the time because it's so ridiculous. And the point is too, let's be blunt. Trump is ruling through edict. He has not presented any legislation in the House. The House
No,
doesn't
there's
present
nothing.
any kind of legislation. And everything he says is like, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. He's written an executive order to do this, written an executive order to do that. And I'm like going, you can't do that.
Well, that's the
We,
thing.
we
Will.
have a
He's
legislative
executive
branch.
ordering a lot of things that he cannot actually do. But the
And
fact
where's
is
the
that
money?
if Congress does not call him on it and lets it slide, like we're doomed. We're doomed.
Well,
Like he's executive.
So what
ordering so
happens
many things.
when he empties the treasury? Because the money that he wants to spend in
Just on
Gitmo, he wants to build a
deportation.
wall, the deportations, all that. Where's the money coming from?
Well, that's a
Eventually,
good
the
question.
kitty's going to go dry until we ask the House for more money.
Well, I think that's part of it, though, is they're letting it slide for now, not because they want to let it slide or that they're okay with whatever he's doing. Look at a lot of his big stuff. His birthright citizenship, for example, his attempt to freeze all government spending. Court's already stepped in and said, "Wait a minute." They're trying to kick the can to the courts and let the courts deal with it for now until they absolutely have to step in and do something.
Yeah.
They are trying to wait until the absolute last minute, and then they will do it when they have to, but not before.
So,
I agree.
And they
so
want
the party of fiscal
in fine line.
the party of fiscal responsibility is spending money like a drunken 21-year-old on spring break with an Amex card that bill's going to come due in 30 days. And I don't, and it's all this talk about fiscal responsibility and the budget and balance on that, and he's suspending money. And no one sees that. Every
Isn't
time
Elon's job fiscal responsibility? Isn't that his freaking job?
No, he doesn't have a job. That's a made up fucking
Well, no, I mean, like,
program.
isn't that what they're like appointing him to do? Is fiscal responsibility?
Yeah, great. Yeah, his fiscal is to remove everything that he thinks is going to benefit him. But the point is, like, when is it going to come to a head? It's got to come to an head. $800,000 for flights. I mean, I don't even want to talk about how much this fucking golf is costing me at this point.
Yeah.
Where's it going to, what happens at that point? When there is no money, that's got to be that. The Treasury's got to be saying something. Or is he gotten rid of everyone down there and they just doing what he says and printing money?
You gotta wonder.
Problem is,
I mean,
the president doesn't have the power of the purse that comes from Congress. So when they pass the next funding thing, he doesn't allocate, or he doesn't get the money allocated for his pet projects. You know,
Well, Eric, don't tell him that because he does not understand that.
Going off what I just saw in the comments, will get me thinking about this. What's going to probably happen? We got the CR coming out March 14th, is that's when funding deadline is. No more money after the 14th. Now we're going to be risking a shutdown again. Either they shut the government down, or the Republicans are going to have to go across aisle to Democrats, and Democrats are going to say, okay, we pass a clean CR with a veto-proof majority, even if he vetoes it. No money for Gitmo, no money for this, no money for this, no money for this. That's probably when the pushback is going to come, is when they have to do the funding bill, and the Republicans will go along with it because they can blame it on the Democrats.
Yeah, but you know what? Shutting down the government, if things keep going the way it is, may be the most, the brightest thing to do. Just shut everything down.
It might be for the first time, Democrats should go, fuck this, we're shutting the government down. And he's going to tell everyone and going, look, guys, in order to stop this, Trump just said it, you're going to have to suffer some. So what you should tell around people, go, look, I know it's not good, but in order to control this guy, we're going to have to take a hit for this. Because if the Democrats are concerned, they have empathy. But at this point, we need to punch someone in the mouth, and they're not doing it.
Well, I feel like a lot of us are getting to that point.
Yeah,
And,
I think we are.
And they not, and in all the Senate, I mean, Pete Hesketh should have come to the vote. They should have blocked it.
Yeah.
Kristi Noem shouldn't have come to a vote. They should have blocked it. 7 fucking Democratic senators voted for Kristi Noem's
Yeah.
nomination
They should be,
as
they should be
DHS.
primary.
But Will, like, not for nothing, but like up to the election, we were all like, yeah, Kamala, yeah, Kamala. I am not going to speculate on a single freaking thing that they may or may not do at this point, because it's just complete chaos. Like, all the things that we say they can't do, they're fucking doing. And will they eventually block that stuff or eventually stop it? Maybe, but like,
No.
like
Yeah,
we like do these lives and we say, oh, they can't do this, they can't do that, and they're fucking doing it. And
Yes.
like, how do we stop that? Like, because they're
the
just
Senate,
letting him fucking do it.
because the Senate, see, one of the things he don't want legislation to come through, because if it gets through the House, if it gets in the Senate, someone could stand up and say, no, this bill's dead. They can filibuster.
Yeah.
They can stand and
they
say
can.
filibuster. But
But
see,
then
the problem
again,
is you got to get legislation in, and that's why they're not doing it, because they know the consequences. They know what's going to happen.
I
In
tell
the
you,
end,
I will
We
tell
have
you
seen
this.
like zero consequences though so far,
I will tell you,
unfortunately, yes.
aside
That's
from
correct.
2 plane crashes.
right. We're going to have to wrap things up, but I would just say this: the way I read it right now, the Democrats need to do something. They refuse to do anything. I think what we're stuck with is waiting to the point where the Republicans just can't stomach it anymore and then stop it. And that's the unfortunate thing, because I don't trust Republicans and I don't know how long they will stomach this. But at some point, it's going to be harmful to them. So they're going to have to put a stop to it. I just don't know what, when. I can only presume they're smart enough to understand that, but whatever. That's all we can do. I'm
But
going to
the
wrap
problem I
things
have,
up.
Mike, with them is that they're playing limbo with the Republicans. How
Yeah.
low will they go? And that's a
Yeah,
scary
that's
thought.
exactly right. It is a scary thought, and that's why we got to just keep talking about it and hope to God somebody ends up being a hero, or at least decent. We don't have many decent people out there anymore, and the ones that are decent aren't either strong enough or not willing to speak up. So we can only hope against hope that we find that person. So Eric, Rebecca, TJ, Will, all the other people that joined
Thank
us
you,
on the
guys.
show, I want to thank you guys for coming on. It's a great conversation. I'm going to be
Thanks,
doing
guys.
more
Have a good night,
lives because I think this is helpful to people to get it out and talk about it. So for those of you that spend time listening, I want to thank you for taking that time, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow, as always.
Bye.
Be safe, guys.